أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي ليس لأوليته ابتداء ولا لأزليته انقضاء وانحصرت الأوصاف عن كنه معرفته وردعت عظمته العقول والذي لا تواري عنه سماء ولا أرض أرضا ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيد البطحاء سيد المرسلين والأنبياء أبي القاسم محمد المصطفى وعلى الجوهرة القدسية البتول العذراء سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء وعلى بعلها أمير المؤمنين وبنيها الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا لا سيما على بقية الله وحجته الكبرى الذي بيمنه رزق الورى وبوجوده ثبتت الأرض والسماء ولولاه لصاخت الأرض بأهلها واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وقال الإمام الصادق عليه الصلاة والسلام إنما سميت فاطمة لأن الخلق فطموا عن معرفتها صلوات. We are blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have a life under the walayat of Sayyidatu Nisa'il Alameen Fatimatu Zahra Salamullahi alayha. The Lady of Light, who is the leader of all the ladies of all times. When someone said to the Holy Prophet, talking about Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam, that she was the leader of the ladies, our beloved Prophet replied back, Kanat Sayyidata Nisa'i Alamiha. She was the leader of the ladies of her time. Amma ibnati Fatima, فهي سيدة نساء العالمين من الأولين والآخرين. That means as far as my daughter Fatima goes, she is the leader of the ladies of all the times from the earlier and the later generations. Such a lady for whom our sixth Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad as-Sadiq alayhi salam says that nahnu hujajullahi ala al-khalq. We are the hujjats and evidences of Allah over the creatures. Wa Fatimatu hujjatuhu alayna. And Fatima is his hujjat over us. And this hadith is an evidence that Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha is superior than the rest of the 11 Imams. The rest of the 11 Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam are under the walayat and authority of Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha. So when our 11 Imams are under her authority, who are we? No one else can be compared. There is no comparison whatsoever. When Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, لولا أن أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام تزوجها ما كان لها كفٌ. Had it not been for Amir al-Mu'mineen to marry her, she would have no parallel. Isn't it right? In Islam, we have the marriages taking place among those who are al-mu'minun ba'duhum akfa'u ba'd. Mu'mineen, they are kufu and parallel, spiritual counterpart and parallel towards each other. So you marry when you find somebody is your spiritual parallel in terms of iman and akhlaq and taqwa. This is what it counts, not the money, not at all. Not your financial status. Isn't it right? So if when this is the criterion that is set forth by the Ahlul Bayt, by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. So we find when it comes for the marriage of this greatest lady, we find that neither Prophet Adam faman dunahu, ma kana laha kuffun, Adam faman dunahu. No one would have been her parallel. That means starting from Prophet Adam till all those who came after him, everyone included. Not a single human, including the messengers of Allah, can be held as parallel in their spirituality and highness and their nuraniyat towards Hazrat Zahra sallallahu alaiha. This is the kind of personality we are talking about tonight. So the ayat of Holy Quran, which is related to the Inzalul Quran fi Laylatul Qadr. Inna anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr. Definitely we have descended, we have sent it in the night of Qadr. And we have authentic narrations after narrations from the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam teaching us that Laylatul Qadr is Fatimatul Zahra sallallahu alayha. And Ayatullah al-Uzma, Sheikh Hassan Zada Amuli Hafizahullah, who is one of our greatest urafa of this time, may Allah prolong his life, had said in his statement that why wouldn't Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha be considered as Laylatul Qadr? Why wouldn't she be considered as Laylatul Qadr when we find that Laylatul Qadr is the night, isn't it right? Laylatul Qadr is the night where we have the Holy Quran descending on the qalb of Rasulullah. We believe the Quran was sent down, was revealed twice on the Holy Prophet. Once, the Quran was sent all at once on the qalb, daf'atan wahida, all at once, the complete Quran in one shot, with the ishraq, with the flash of the nur, straight away on the greatest soul that Allah created ever, the soul of the greatest messenger, received the nur of Quran all at once. And second of all, he received the second time, he received the Holy Quran in the span of those 23 long years, which is what we call Tanzilul Quran. There's a difference in Arabic between Inzal and Tanzil. Inzal is what is done daf'atan wahida, in one shot. Whereas Tanzil of Quran is where we say the Quran is revealed tadrijiyan, gradually. Takes 23 long years. Okay, now it relates to the people. People's soul is not receptive, not accommodating, not ready. People have sins. They're not ready to receive the Nurani teachings of Allah all at once. They don't even deserve to receive it. Isn't it right? So when it comes to the Tanzil for the sake of the people, Quran takes 23 long years to be revealed. When it comes to Inzalul Quran, descending of the Holy Quran for the sake of Rasulullah's soul, because his soul is receptive towards the nur of Allah completely, he deserves to receive the Quran all in a single shot. This is how the greatness of Rasulullah is. So this Ustad Ayatullah al-Uzma, Hasan Zada Amuli Hafizahullah, what he was saying, I was telling you what he was saying, is that why wouldn't Hazrat Zahra alayhi salam be considered as Laylatul Qadr when in her personality we find 11 of the Al-Qur'anun Natiq, the talking Qur'ans, were revealed on this personality. Isn't it right? 11 of those personalities, 11 of our Imams, 11 of our Imams, all of whom are Al-Qur'anun Natiq, the talking Qur'an, they walk and talk Qur'an. They're Quran personified in the form of humans. If Quran can come in the form of a human, you have to look towards the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. That's how the Quran is. If the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt can be represented in the word form, that's how the Holy Quran is. They both reflect each other completely and totally in its totality. And they all reflect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they are the mazhar and reflection of every single name and every single attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without exception. So Quran is the tajalli, how Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam talks about the Holy Quran in Nahj al-Balagha, tajalla lahum subhanahu fi kitabihi. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has reflected for them in His book. This is the reflection, tajalli and jalwa and nur of Allah in the word form. So it is the reflection of Allah. And that's why the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt are also the madhar and reflection of Allah. So we find that 11 of those Imams who are reflection of the Holy Quran and the reflection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have been revealed in this night, so she has to be the Laylatul Qadr. Nothing but her, actually in the real sense, is the Laylatul Qadr. No one can understand the Holy Quran, and no one can understand the greatness of its teachings, and no one can understand and fathom the highness of these 11 Imams unless and until a person has ma'rifat and in-depth recognition of Fatimatul Zahra sallallahu alayha. As a matter of fact, our Imams are superior than the Holy Quran. Isn't it right? Our Imams, we believe, they are afdal than the Holy Quran itself. Although you look at the Hadith al-Saqalain, which is part of the khutbah of Ghadir, of the Holy Prophet. And Allama al-Amini, rahmatullah alayh, who wrote the biggest book on the subject in the history, Kitabul Ghadir, that's the name of the book, in 11 volumes. Isn't it right? Allama Amini traveled all over the Islamic Ummah. Our scholars did a great job, isn't it right, to protect this religion. हमारे यहाँ तो इतनी आसानी से टांग खींच देते हैं उलमा की, मुज्तहिदों की, फतवों का मजाक उड़ा देते हैं, कोई तमीज़ ही नहीं है, जाहिलों की अलामत है ये. This is how, this is the sign of jahl. Isn't it right? They don't even understand what ijtihad is all about. They have no clue. This is what Imam Ali alayhi salam has said in Nahj al-Balagha, La tara al-jahila illa mufritan or mufarritan. You would never see, you won't see a jahil except either doing ifrat or tafrit. In one of the two extremes. Isn't it right? A jahil won't be on the path of i'tidal. It's impossible. I'tidal comes of ilm. Somebody who doesn't have the knowledge, isn't it right? And some people don't have the knowledge and some people don't want to have the knowledge. If somebody is sleeping and you stand next to him and you scream, he's going to open his eyes. He's jahil, he's sleeping. But if someone is pretending to sleep, even if you shout and shout and shout, he's not going to open his eyes. Because he doesn't want to, he has an agenda. Isn't it right? Some people are ignorant, and it's the job of the scholars to educate them. And there are some people who are pretending, and they don't want to learn. They're still not serious. So we find that the 11, Allama Amini traveled to Syria, he traveled to Lucknow, Maktabatun Nasiriya, historic library of the city of Lucknow, and he stayed there for 6 months inside the library. When he comes back to Iran, and some of his fellow scholars asked him, how was the climate in Lucknow? He said, I don't know. Because he never stepped out of the library. For 6 months, in a row, straight 6 months, he stayed inside, he slept inside the library. Because all he was doing was his research. He didn't have time to come out in the city. This is how our scholars did the hard work, isn't it right? To protect the values and principles of Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And now he composes this remarkable masterpiece of history, the best book on the subject up till now in 11 volumes, Kitabul Ghadir. And when he starts this book in the Muqaddimah and forward, first he mentions the entire story, what actually happened, and then he starts with his presenting his research in 11 volumes. First in the Muqaddimah, he mentions the complete history of Ghadir in his own words. And in that narration, which is the most authentic narration that he mentioned in the forward and Muqaddimah, he narrates the hadith and the khutbah of Ghadir, and the Prophet, in that most authentic narration of Ghadir, Prophet said, Inni tarikun fikum as-saqalain, as-saqalul akbar. It can be read in both ways. As-saqalain in Arabic, we can read in both ways. And as-siqlain, two valuable things or two weighty things. And then, Inni tarikun fikum as-siqlain, or saqalain, I'm leaving behind among you two valuable things. As-siqlul akbar, or as-saqalul akbar, the greater valuable thing, Kitabullah, Book of God. Wal akharul hablum mamdudun bain al ardi was sama. It's a rope that has been extended between the heaven and earth. Quran is a rope extended between heaven and earth. And then Prophet says, according to Allama Amini, the most authentic narration of the khutbah of Ghadir in his book, he says, وَالسَّقَلُ وَالْآخَرُ الْأَصْغَرُ itrati. And the other valuable, the lesser valuable thing, my itrat. Although we believe that Ahlul Bayt are superior than Quran, then why does the Holy Prophet in the most authentic narration says, the bigger valuable thing is talking about Quran, and the lesser valuable thing talking about Ahlul Bayt? Saqarul Akbar wal Akharul Asghar. Why is that so? This is what my teacher, Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli Hafadahullah, in his tafsir was saying, the reason why Prophet is saying like this. He's explaining, doing the tafsir. He says, the reason why Quran is considered to be bigger valuable thing is min jihatil hujjiyah. Because when it comes to hujjiyat and i'tibar and reliance, the authenticity, why we accept the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, is because of the Holy Quran obliging us to accept the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. So the authenticity of every human being must accept the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. He has to, for that authenticity, he has to turn towards the Holy Quran to prove it. This is why it is called As-Saqal al-Akbar. This is why it's called. But then after saying that, my teacher says, otherwise we believe the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt are superior than Quran, isn't it right? And obviously we have hadith which says, khairum min al khair fa'iluhu. The doer of a goodness is better than the khair and goodness. So if you perform salat, you are afdal than the salat that you performed. If you perform a fasting, you are superior than the fast you did. If you go for Hajj, you are afdal and superior than the Hajj you performed. Because you are the doer of the khair. The khair is surviving because of you. Isn't it right? So doer of every khair is superior than the khair itself. So Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam definitely are superior than the Holy Quran. Please say salawat. So Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha has every reason to be called Laylatul Qadr. It makes perfect sense. Isn't it right? She is the mother of 11 of those Imams who all of them are superior than the Holy Quran. When those 11 Imams are superior, you can understand how much high Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha is, who is even superior than the 11 Imams. So they are all operating under her walayat and supremacy. If you want to get close, if you want to get attention, one of the sinners is narrated by a scholar. A scholar was telling one of the person, a sinner, he went into the haram of Imam Rida alayhi salam, and someone saw in the dream, this guy he did a lot of sins. And it's a tradition in Iran and in Iraq that they take the janazah of the mu'mineen to the haram of Ahlul Bayt. They do the tawaf of the zari and then take the person to be buried. Isn't it right? So this person said, by the way, when I died, Malakul Maut came, angel of death, to take my soul away. I understood I'm devastated. I'm heading towards the hellfire, the way they treat. Obviously, when you start seeing Malakul Maut coming towards you, at that moment you can understand where do you belong, heaven or hell. Because the face of the angel of death, the behavior, the way he talks is 180 degrees different from a muhsin and a musi, a good doer and a bad doer. So he said, I understood that I'm heading towards the hell. Until the time came, some of my relatives, they picked up my janazah and they took to the haram of Imam Rida alayhi salam. And they did the tawaf, they rotated my dead body around the dhari and few times, and Imam Rida alayhi salam did not pay attention. Some of the sinners have done so much harams after harams. Isn't it right? Some people are like this. They don't realize. They don't realize what they are doing, how much they are behaving and hurting. That's what our Urafa say. Imam Sahib Zaman Islam is already hurt. So much wrong has already been done towards the Ahlul Bayt. Enough is enough. Let us not hurt the Imam of our time any further. So some people have done so much haram, eaten so much haram food. Isn't it right? They don't realize. So Imam didn't pay attention until my last rotation came. And my family members are rotating me for the last time. And that's where I gave the wasita of Fatimatul Zahra to my Mawla. This is where my Mawla paid attention to me. So you know how much aziz, how much dear is Fatimatul Zahra to the Ahlul Bayt. No one can understand. The hadith of Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, which I recited in the beginning, where Mawla says that innama summiyat Fatimatu Fatimata, the reason why Fatima is named Fatima, لأن الخلق فطموا عن معرفتها, because the creatures are separated from her ma'rifat. That means no one can understand, realize and recognize her ma'rifat. She is that high. She is unreachable. She is beyond the reach, that much high. This is why she is called Fatima. So, and because of these personalities, we learned the entire religion. The whole religion, Islam, is surviving because of them. Lawla, the Hadithul Mubarak says, Lawla Allah ma urifna, wa lawla nahnu ma urif Allah. If we were not there, Allah would not have been recognized. That means no human on the planet can end up recognizing Allah. وَلَوْلَا اللَّهِ مَا عُرِفْنَا. And if Allah was not there, we would not have been recognized. That means the real ma'rifat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam can only be had by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please say salawat. So the whole religion is learned because of them. They are the wasita and the means. In our ilm al-kalam, the knowledge of our Islamic belief system, we call the Ahlul Bayt to be wasitatul fayd, the means of the blessings. Every blessing, every single ni'mat of Allah descends down over the Imam of the time first. And then he's distributing the blessing towards whomsoever deserves to get the blessing. This is adl and justice. This is exactly what justice is. We need to get what we deserve, not more than that. You always get what you deserve, as much as you deserve. Whatever you didn't get because you did not deserve it, Allah is adil. Imam is adil. So they are wasatatul fayd. Every blessing is coming from them. Every single blessing for everyone and everything. Because they are not imam of the humans only. We call them imamul kainate was-sabitat. Our imams are the leader of all the existences. Everything other than Allah. Isn't it right? Everything other than Allah is under their command. Walayatun takwiniyatun mutlaqa. Absolute power and authority, like we say walayat. Walayat means government. Walayatul faqih means government of mujtahid. Then walayat means hukumat, government. Walayatun takwiniya means a hukumat and government over the entire universe. Everything and particle of the universe and every existence reports back to them, and they are under their command. That kind of person. That kind of personality we are talking about. The whole religion is because of them. Isn't it right? That's how we learn. And had it not been for their sacrifices, none of the humans would be even Muslim or believer in Tawheed. No one would end up believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone is because of them. Every hasana, every good deed performed by everyone, they are the ones who are getting the thawab for it. Because of them, everyone learned what is good and what is bad. Isn't that right? They deserve to get the thawab primarily. Second of all, that person gets the thawab. So, and those who are rest of the wasa'it, rest of the means in that, your father, isn't it right? Your father gets the thawab. Every good deed that the son does or the daughter performs, father gets the thawab. He's the wasitatul fayd. The mother gets the thawab. She's the wasitatul fayd. Khaliq-e majazi, how we call them, isn't it right? The blessings of Allah are coming through your parents to you. We need to respect them. So we find in the hadith, we have so many hadiths narrated from Hazrat Zahra Salaamullah Alaiha as well. You know, one of the great scholars, he has compiled a book, Nahjul Hayat, in which he has composed almost all, if not all the ahadith of Hazrat Zahra Salaamullah Alaiha in one book, Nahjul Hayat. You can find so much treasure of information that we learn from Hazrat Zahra Salaamullah Alaiha. And tonight I would like to inform a few of the ahadith from Hazrat Zahra. Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir la yu'zi jarahu. Whoever believes in Allah and the final day should not annoy his neighbor. That's one of the great teachings of Islam. Respecting our neighbor, taking care of the neighbor, doing good towards our neighbor. Isn't it right? A mu'min can never sleep when he finds his neighbor is hungry. If you go to sleep and you did not find out whether or not your neighbor is going to bed hungry, you're not a Muslim. You have to find out. Obviously, he's not going to knock your door and tell me, hey, brother, I am hungry. That's his disrespect. Begging at your doorstep. It's our job to find out. That's the way we interact, we live in societies, isn't it right? Interactive situations, so we understand, we find out. So it should not happen in our neighborhoods that somebody is going to sleep hungry. There are certain teachings of Islam, my brothers and sisters, there are certain teachings of Islam which are absolute, without any exception. Regardless, whether your neighbor is a mu'min, he's a kafir, right? It doesn't matter. The teaching is still the same. Just like we have teachings about al-wafa'u bil-ahd, being faithful towards your covenant. If you make a promise towards somebody, you have to fulfill that promise. Whether you make it towards a kafir, you make it towards a mu'min, Muslim, doesn't matter. You have to fulfill it. Hazrat Ismail ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam, he made a promise with someone and to meet somebody at some place, and he went to that place, the guy didn't show up. He stayed in that town, in that neighborhood, that area for 1 full year waiting for him. That's how our great Anbiya were. Wafa bil ahad. Some people are such that they don't care about what they say. They can just break away their promise so easily. We don't realize that some of the teachings have been so much emphasized, like al-ihsan bil walidain. There is no exception. Even though your walidain may be kafir, their walidain may be mushrik, they may be munafiq, but because they are your walidain and parents, Islam says you have to do good towards them. Obviously, we won't listen to their kufr, we won't obey their kufr, we won't obey their shirk, we won't obey their nifaq. But doing good behavior, good akhlaq, taking care of them, helping them out in their time of need, this will continue to be our obligation regardless of their faith. There are some children who are transferring their mothers. This brother's house, the mother stays in this brother's house for 2 months. Then like a football, they're transferring their mom. And then another brother's house, another brother. Isn't it right? These people are mahroom. They are deprived. They don't understand how to attract the rahmat of Allah and the tawajjuh of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. They don't understand. They fail to understand. Some people who reach age of 70, 75, they are acting like childish babies. This is a childish behavior, isn't it right? That you still did not end up understanding that the Shariat of Rasulullah is the nasikh. It invalidates all the previous shara'i and legislatures. This is the final word. Nothing can supersede it. So we have to learn it before we become baligh. Not that I reach age 75 and I'm still not behaving well towards the rules of the Sharia revealed from Alamul Ghaib, the unseeable world on the greater soul, being the final decisions. This is the behavior of some people, childish behavior. Where there are some children who are so religious, they are behaving like elderly people. And the hadith of Amir al-Mu'mineen wa Imam al-Muttaqeen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wa salam says that khairu shababikum man tashabbaha bikuhulikum. The best of your youth, Mawla says, is the one who becomes mushabih, resembling towards your elders. And then Amir al-Mu'mineen says, wa sharru kuhulikum man tashabbaha bishababikum. The worst of your elders are the ones who are behaving like your children, your youth. This is what we are talking about. 70 साल के हो गए मगर अभी शरीफ फराइज नहीं पता, अभी वुजू का तरीका नहीं आता, अभी आबे कुर और आबे कलील का फर्क नहीं पता. This is the childish behavior that we don't understand the basic rulings of Allah. You ask people, why do we believe in the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah is Adil, Allah is Rahman, He is Qadir, He is Alim, He is Hakim, and so on, and Hayy, and He is Qayyum. What it has to do with our everyday life? How many people know that? Isn't it right? Why do we believe in 124,000 prophets of Allah? Do you have any dalil? How many people know that? Ignorance. Because they don't care. They have no clue about the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts your aqidah based on burhan. This is what the Prophet said, قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Bring your evidence if you are truth tellers. When it comes to aqidah, we cannot follow our grandfathers, with due respect to them. You cannot follow a mujtahid. Taqleed is haram in the usul ad-din. How many people have evidences? This is a level of ignorance. You know, when there are level of ignorance you find in a person when it comes to the usul ad-din and the roots of the religion will be reflected always in the furu ad-din, the branches of the religion. Because as a matter of fact, aqidah and amal, the belief and actions are inseparable. So whatever you do reveals what you believe. What you claim is not revealing what you believe. What you do reveals what you believe. And what you did not do proves that as a matter of fact you never believed in that. If you believed, you would have definitely done it. It's impossible for a person to believe in something and then not do it. Because aqidah and amal are inseparable as a matter of fact. That's the way it goes. Amir Mu'mineen has already said in Nahjul Balagha, Bil iman yustadallu ala salihat, wa bis salihat tustadallu ala iman. You discover about the presence of iman through the salihat, the good deeds. And through the iman, you will find out the salihat of a person. That means if he has iman, he would definitely do the good deeds. If he performs the good deeds, it has to be because of the iman. So one is a dalil for the other. And though both are inside, please say salawat. This is one of the greatest blessings of Allah. This ma'idatun nuraniya, ye ilahi dastarkhan. This divine opportunity which is spread and provided, extended to all of us under the lutf of Imam al-Hussein, that in his love people show up in the majalis and they get cleaned up from the inside, shuffled from the inside. Isn't it right? So we need cleaning, we need to be purified. And Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is purifying even after his shahadat, he is purifying generations after generations for those who are serious. Isn't it right? That's why our scholars say that the paradise has 8 doors. Jannat has 8 doors. Jahannam has 7. Isn't it right? And one of the 8 doors of paradise is called Babul Hussein. Door of Hussein. And Babul Hussein Awsa. Door of Hussein is the widest of all the 8 doors. This is what our Urafa say, the largest number of humans in the history got guided because of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Largest number of humans didn't get guided because of anyone else. It's because of Imam Hussein. I remember Imam Khomeini Ridwanullah alayhi used to say that ma harche darim as Muharram safaras. He was an arif, Ustad al-Urafa. So many of his students are arifs of today. Isn't it right? Ustad of 350 plus mujtahids. 300, he taught Dars Kharij to make 350 plus ulama as mujtahids. Ustad al-Fuqaha, he used to say, everything that we have is because of Muharram and Safar. That means Imam Hussein and Hazrat Zainab. Everything that we have. We cannot understand the highness of Imam Hussein, and we are unable to understand the highness of Sayyidah Zainab Salamullah alayha. No one can understand. You know, in one of the stories, our scholars narrate that one great arif of ours was doing the ibadat in the Sardab al-Muqaddas, the holy basement in Samarra, from where Imam Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam disappeared. And he heard the voice of Imam alayhi salam that ask Allah in the haqq of Zainab salamullah alayha, in the haqq of my aunt Zainab, to hasten my appearance. So Imam Sahib Zaman alayhi salam said to that Arif scholar, Mujtahid, that, that ask Allah for the sake of my aunt Zainab. How much azim is Hazrat Zainab? Imam Sahib Zaman is giving the wasita of Zainab. Unthinkable for a human, Her Highness. We can't understand. So we find she's the Na'ibatu Zahra. That's what our scholars say. She's the Na'ib of Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha. She did the role of Hazrat Zahra salamullah alayha. So we find that some of what I was telling you is some of the teachings are such where there is no exception in Islam. Likewise, ihsan bil walidain, doing good towards our parents, and amanat. Yeah, before I move forward, Ayatollah Dastgheb Shirazi, rahmatullah alayh, in his book has mentioned a story that one person, there was a businessman and a nice guy, and another person of the city, he saw him in the dream, that he saw a huge palace in paradise, and he was told this palace belongs to that person, that businessman. Obviously, he's a nice mu'min. All of a sudden in the dream, he saw a fire, a flame of fire came, and it suddenly came and burnt down the entire palace into ashes. And this person woke up. He knew that businessman, and in the middle of the night, he went out of his house and he knocked at his door. Can you tell me what did you do right now? Right now, what did you do? Because right now, there's something done by you. He said, yes, right now, I slapped on the face of my mother. He said, this is exactly what I saw in my dream. That's why I came here in the middle of the night, knocking your door. Because I saw you had a huge palace in paradise, and a flame of fire came and burnt down the whole palace. We don't realize these teachings, isn't it? We think we are smart. The intellectualism is not an open-minded, isn't it right? You find so many people challenging and violating the laws of Allah in the name of open-mindedness. Intellectualism, so-called. This is intellectual to give in and submit and accept the divine values and rulings and principles which are revealed in the final Sharia. This is intellectualism. Not to challenge the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. You can never outsmart the Ahlul Bayt. If you try to outsmart the Ahlul Bayt, it will backfire no one else but you. So we find that another important ruling of the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam is Silatul Rahim. Inshallah, if I have a chance, inshallah, I will elaborate on some other things in the upcoming majalis. Silatul Rahim, staying in touch with the relatives. Isn't it right? So in almost every family you find there are conflicts, there are issues, there are fights. Isn't it right? We are not MASOM, we are fallible humans. But we should never initiate to break away from our relative. If we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we believe in the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt, and if we want to please the Imam of our time, we are not allowed to break away. Qati'atul Rahim is haram and a bigger sin. And not just that, but Imam Rida alayhi salam says how many a times it happens a person has 1 year of his life remaining and he performs Silatul Rahim, staying in touch with your relatives, and 30 years are added into his life. And how many a times it happens a person has 30 years remaining in his life and he performs Qati'atul Rahim, breaks away from the relatives, and he dies. So we were thinking we are smart, that we are playing around with the principles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is, we cannot outsmart Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It backfires our own selves. Isn't it right? And our real, this is how Allah is asking us to behave with our aqriba, our relatives. Even if you end up giving talaq to your wife, obviously talaq is disliked by Allah, but your wife is your relative. The Shariat of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says you are not allowed to take your gifts back from your wife. It's not allowed to take your hadiyah, the wedding band, isn't it right? The gifts that you have given to your wife because she is your relative, even though you have given talaq, it is not allowed for you to take the gifts back. There are principles of Ahlul Bayt. We need to honor those principles. This is about the people with whom we have qarabat, azizdari, relations. And the most and the highest and the strongest qarabat and relation is the qarabat and relation of the walayat of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. There is no stronger relationship, isn't it right? When we are related because we all believe in the walayat of Imam Ali alayhi salam. What can be bigger than that? Any misbehavior that you do towards a believer of walayat of Ahlul Bayt, you are messing up, actually disrespecting Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam in the real sense. You are You're doing bad towards his soldier, his follower, his man. A mu'min is his man. Even if we don't respect this person, even if we don't like to respect this person, we should at least respect him for the sake of Imam alayhi salam. At least. This shows our respect for Imam Ali alayhi salam. That when we don't like a person, we crush our personal ego and give preference to the likeness and principles of Mawla over our own likeness. This is how it's proven that we love Ahlul Bayt. When you love somebody, you establish a relationship, you stay in touch for the sake of his iman. Not for the sake I can make a relation so I can make more money from this person. No. Min ajle imanihi. For the sake of his iman. Because he has iman over the walayat of Imam Ali and did not support any taghut in his life. Because of that, I am respecting him. You get the sawab. Even if you visit a mu'min, ziyaratul akhil mu'min is mustahab in Islam. It's sawab. If you pay a visit to any mu'min brother with the niyat that he is the believer in the walayat of Ahlul Bayt, that's what it counts. You get the sawab. Ziyarat of akhil mu'min is mustahab in Islam. So when one mu'min has that sort of respect in Islam, how much respect will Islam hold for our spiritual fathers? When the Prophet said, Ana wa Ali abawa hadhil ummah. Me and Ali are the two fathers of this nation. Prophet did not use the word walida, because you don't have two biological fathers. Every word of the Prophet is full of wisdom. He is using the word abawa hadhil ummah. Me and Ali are the two fathers of this nation. And my teacher, Ayatollah Jawadi Hafidahullah, was saying that this ubuwat is ubuwatun haqiqiyya. That's the real fatherhood. That's the real fatherhood. And when we have an imam like this in the community, how would the community behave? Writing 18,000 letters to Imam al-Hussein. Isn't it right? And even praying behind Muslim ibn Aqil. But when it comes to supporting the walayat of Hussein, no. When it comes to supporting the government of Ahlul Bayt, no. That's what, we are forced to say that a lot of Shia people consider the 12 Imams to be their religious leaders only, not their political leaders. Isn't that right? That's a fact. That's why Banu Umayyah ruled. That's why Banu Abbas ruled. Because we separated religion from politics. If we consider the Ahlul Bayt to be our Mawla, our Wali, our Imam, Wali means hakim, the ruler, the political leader. Then you would never not see Banu Umayyah ruling over the Islamic Ummah and Banu Abbas ruling over the Islamic Ummah. So all the problems that we find the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam had been, all the madhalim and atrocities that they faced in their life is because of so many people and followers separating religion from politics. To protect their dunya. At least they perceive like this that they will protect their dunya like this. Dunya doesn't get protected like this. But people think we are smart and we can protect like this. Can the people of Medina save their lives? Here on the 11th of Muharram, we are mourning Imam Abi Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. You can't find in the history a single, Medina is full of the followers of Imam Hussain. That's the city of Ahlul Bayt. Imam Hussain is born and raised in that city. His watan. You don't find a single Shia coming to Imam Hussain and saying, Mawla, why are you leaving Medina? I'm here to sacrifice my life ahead of you. Not a single Shia said that. Isn't it right? What is the benefit of your prayers? And these prayers and salat and psalm need to be wrapped and thrown back at your face. A salat and psalm where the ruh of Islam, which is walayat of Ahlul Bayt, is missing, there is no value of this salat and psalm. This kind of prayers, people. That's what the people think. No, we are religious people too, because we are praying and fasting. Well, Umar ibn Sa'd was also praying and fasting, leading the Salat al-Zuhr on that side. Imam Hussain is doing the Jamaat on this side. Yazid was not Tariq al-Salat either. He led a Friday prayers on a Wednesday because he was drunk, but he was not Tariq al-Salat. Isn't it right? So let's redefine the terms. Let's try to understand why this Karbala happened. What's the root cause? Every year we talk about Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Unfortunately, we find Karbala still remains the most ununderstood story. Our Imam is in ghaibat, forced to stay in ghaibat. Isn't it right? Imam is forced to stay in ghaibat. 11 of the Imams have been slaughtered. He is the last option. Allah has to take him away from the community. Community is not opening up their eyes. Community doesn't become muntazir. Muntazir for what? Establishing of divine hukumat and government in the world. But we separate religion from politics. हम तो मौलाना से कहते हैं मौलाना मिंबर से सियासत की बातें नहीं करना यहाँ कुर्बान जाएं आपकी अकल पे कुर्बान जाएं इस दीन फहमी के ऊपर फरमाया आपने यानी पैटी पॉलिटिक्स करने के लिए तैयार हैं मगर सियासत आदिलाना मौलाए कायनात की सियासत अदल करने के लिए तैयार नहीं है ये है शरअ तो फिर लानत ही बरसेगी ना बरस ही रही है लानत ही बरसी ना मदीना के लोगों पे what happened to the people of Medina Yazid allowed his army men to attack the city of Medina and city, Waqi'at Harra, what we call in the history. For 3 days, it was mubah. It was permissible for them to do whatever. 8,000 bastard children were born because of those 3 days of crimes. So did the people of Medina save their lives? That's why I said people perceive like this that we are smart and we will protect our life if we stay away from siyasatul adl, talking about the divine politics, we will save our life. They perceive. Whether they will really end up saving or not, it's in the hands of Allah. But people think we are smart. These are the lessons that we need to learn when we are talking about Karbala. Isn't it right? So we find that the real father of is the Imam of our time. And the Imam of our time is now leaving for good, forever. Allama Majlisi rahmatullah alayh, he was in the haram and he saw in his dream that in the haram there is the hijab, and if Sayyidah Fatima Zahra is there behind the hijab, and she's asking Allama Majlisi, it has been said on her behalf that if you want to read the Masaib, read the Musibat, read the Masaib of Vida of Hussain. How much it was hard for Imam Hussain, bidding farewell to his family, bidding farewell to Sakina, 6-year-old daughter who is sleeping on his chest, bidding farewell to a loving sister like Zainab, bidding farewell to his daughter Fatima bint al-Hussein, bidding farewell to Kulthum. Every step of the way is the greatest tests of history that Maula went through. Isn't it right? And he comes inside the khayma and takes the permission. Maula tab tashrif late hain. और क्या फरमाया जनाब ज़ैनब से? जनाब ज़ैनब को हमारे उर्फा कहते हैं हामिलतुल असरार, असरार वाली. इमाम हुसैन ने क्या फरमाया? दर ईतीनी बिसौबिन अतीक अजअलहु तहता सियाबी. बहन से फरमाते हैं कि मेरे लिए वो अतीक, वो कदीम और नफीस लिबास लेकर आइए, अजअलहु तहता सियाबी, ताकि मैं उसे अपने कपड़ों तले पहन लूं. ले अल्लाह उजर्रद बाद कत्ली, ताकि मैं मरने के बाद मेरा बदन बरहना ना हो. वो जो मादर गिरामी का दिया हुआ कुर्ता था ना, उसकी बात हो रही है. ईतीनी बिसौबिन अतीक. और शहजादी ज़ैनब ने भैया को वो कुर्ता ला के दिया, और अब जो कुर्ता ला के दिया तो शहजादी ज़ैनब मौला की गर्दन में मुबारक का बोसा लेना शुरू करती है. यही तो वो मकाम है कि जहां शिम्र लईन मौला को ज़बा करेगा. कितनी मर्तबा पैगंबर अकरम ने बोसा लिया है मेरे मौला इमाम हुसैन के चेहरा मुबारक का, कितनी मर्तबा बोसा लिया है. बोसागाह पैगंबर, चेहरा हुसैन बोसागाह पैगंबर है. इमाम हुसैन ने भी शहजादी ज़ैनब के बाजुओं का बोसा लेना शुरू किया. अरे यही वो जगह है जहां रसन बांधे जाएंगे. और मेरे मौला के लिए कितनी कठिन मंजिल है कि आप आखिरी सलाम करके रुखसत हो रहे हैं. अब जो मेरे मौला रवाना होना चाहते हैं तो अब चाहने वालों को पुरा रहे हैं. सब शहीद हो चुके, कोई नहीं आ सकता. अब किसने आके सवार कराया मेरे मौला को? यकीनन बहन पहुंचती है भैया को सवार कराने के लिए. अब मेरे मौला जब रवाना होना जाते हैं, शहजादी ज़ैनब ने क्या कहा था? महलन, थोड़ा ठहर जाइए. हत्ता अतज़व्वद मिनका, यानी थोड़ा मजीद मैं देख लूं आपको. कितनी तड़प है शहजादी को इमाम मजलूम इमाम हुसैन का दीदार करने के लिए. चुनांचे अब जो मौला रवाना हुए तो पीछे कुछ आहट महसूस हुई. अब जो मुड़ के देखा तो सीने पे सोने वाली सकीना पीछे आ रही है. मौला फरस से नीचे उतरे, सकीना को गोद में बिठाया. सकीना कहती, बाबा मुझे भी उसी तरीके से मेरे सर पे हाथ फेरिए जिस तरीके से आपने जनाब मुस्लिम की बेटी के सर पे हाथ फेरा था. मैं जानती हूँ वो वापस नहीं आएंगे. और अज़ादारों, जब असर आशूर का हंगाम आता है, अब शहजादी जनाब फिजा शहजादी ज़ैनब के पास कहती है कि मैं बड़ी खबर लेकर आई हूँ. वो शहजादी कहती है अब कोई खबर मेरे लिए बड़ी खबर नहीं है. यानी बल्फाज दीगर मौला की शहादत के बाद अब कोई खबर बड़ी नहीं रही. कहा कि अब इमाम मजलूम के जसद अतहर को घोड़ों की टापों तले पामाल किया जा रहा है. उसकी तैयारियां हो रही है, घोड़ों की नाल बंदी हो रही है. जाहिर है ना, मुख्तलिफ कबीले वाले अपने कबीले से ताल्लुक रखने वाले शोहदा को ले जा चुके, क्योंकि मौला इमाम हुसैन का कोई कबीले वाला ही नहीं है. चुनांचे वाहिद जनाजा जो जमीन करबला पे पड़ा रहा वो मौला इमाम मजलूम का जनाजा है. फकामा अशरतुम मिनल फवारिस, अब 10 घोड़ों की नाल बंदी हो रही है.
ہے کہ مولا کے جسد کو پامال کیا جائے. نہ جانے شہزادی کے دل پہ کیا گزری ہوگی. یہاں تک کہ وہ وقت بھی آتا ہے کہ جب عصر کا وقت گزر گیا, اب شہزادی زینب عصر عاشور کے بعد بچوں کو اکٹھا کر رہی ہے. روایت میں ہے 84 خواتین اور بچے خیموں سے جلے ہوئے خیموں سے باہر نکلے. اب شہزادی زینب امام حسین کا رول پیش کر رہی ہے. اب شہزادی زینب حسین کی طرح تمام خدمات انجام دے رہی ہے, تمام کام انجام دے رہی ہے. اب بچوں کو تلاش کرنا شروع کیا, بچے سکینہ نظر نہیں آتی. اب سکینہ جانتے ہیں نا اب کتنی محبت تھی امام حسین کو سکینہ سے, اور کتنی محبت تھی سکینہ کو میرے مولا سے. سینے پہ سونے والی بچی جو صاحب اولاد ہے وہ سمجھ سکتے ہیں, جن کی چھوٹی بچیاں ہیں وہ جانتے ہیں بچیاں کتنی اٹیچ ہوتی ہیں اپنے والد سے. شہزادی جاتی ہے مقتل کی طرف, شہزادی کی جرأتوں کو سلام. اتنے مصائب کے بعد مقتل کی طرف رواں دوا ہے, سکینہ کو تلاش کرنے جا رہی ہے. اب دیکھا کہ 6 سالہ بچی ایک ایسے جنازے کے سینے پہ لیٹی ہے جس کا سر نہیں ہے, سر کٹے جنازے پہ. سکینہ کو بڑھ کے اٹھایا, سکینہ کو بڑھ کے اٹھاتی ہے, پوچھا بیٹا کیسے پہچانا, یہ تمہارے بابا کا لاشا ہے. کہا میں تو بابا کہتی جا رہی تھی تو اس جنازے سے آواز آئی الیہ الیہ یا بنیا, ارے میرے پاس آ جاؤ بیٹی.
الا لعنت اللہ علی القوم الظالمین وسیعلم الذین ظلموا ای منقلب ینقلبون. انا للہ وانا الیہ راجعون. الہی بحق الزہراء وابیہا وبعلہا وبنیہا والسر المستودع فیہا. بارلہا پرچم اسلام کو سر بلند فرما, پرچم کفر و شرک و نفاق کو سر نگوں فرما, انقلاب اسلامی کی حفاظت فرما. تمام علماء ربانیین, تمام مراجع کرام, بالخصوص رہبر انقلاب کا سایہ ہمارے سروں پہ برقرار رکھ. تمام مجاہدین اسلام, بالخصوص جو سیدہ زینب سلام اللہ علیہ کے حرم کا دفاع کر رہے ہیں, ان سب کی جان مال و آبرو کی حفاظت فرما, ان کو نصرت عنایت فرما. تمام مومنین کی جان و مال و آبرو کی حفاظت فرما. تمام مومنین کو وظائف شرعیہ پر عمل کرنے کی توفیق عنایت فرما. تمام مومنین کی مشروع حاجات کو پورا فرما. بااللہ جو بانیان مجلس ہیں ان کی مشروع حاجات کو پورا فرما. ان کے مرحومین کی مغفرت فرما. ہمیں اس وقت تک اس دنیا سے نہ اٹھا جب تک امام زمانہ ہم سے راضی نہ ہو جائیں. ان کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما. ہم سب کو ان کے انصار و اشیاع میں قرار دے. ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم بجاہ محمد و آلہ الطاہرین. یا حسین.